Hello and welcome to today's reflection. Today we are going to be looking at the lectionary reading, our gospel reading for this morning, and it is Luke 24 verses 13 through to 16 that I'm going to share with you. If you want to read the whole story, you can keep on going to the end, but I'm just going to share with you the first few verses of this story, and it's the story of the road to Emmaus. This is the story of Jesus coming alongside two disciples who are walking away from Jerusalem following his death and resurrection, but they don't realise about the resurrection just yet. They're kind of confused about it. There were reports that people have seen him alive again, but they're just trying to make sense, these two disciples, of all that's gone before. And Jesus comes alongside them in their confusion and their chaos, and they're upset that things haven't gone, or they don't think they've gone to plan. So I'm just going to read you the start of this story. So this is Luke 24, starting at verse 13. Now on that same day, two of them were going to a village called Emmaus, about 7 miles from Jerusalem, and talking with each other about all these things that had happened. While they were talking and discussing, Jesus himself came near and went with them, but their eyes were kept from recognizing him. Jesus goes on to ask them what they're talking about, and they try to explain to him all that has happened in Jerusalem over the last week or so with Jesus' death and resurrection, but that there are reports that perhaps maybe he's been raised from the dead. I think what I'd like us to focus on today is the fact that the two disciples did not recognize Jesus when he was walking with them. And maybe think about times in our own lives when we have been confused or things seem to have been in chaos and we haven't noticed God walking alongside us. Sometimes it's not until afterwards we look back and realise that things just seem to have fallen into place in miraculous ways, or things happened that perhaps shouldn't have happened, but everything worked out well. And we can see God's hand at work in our lives, often not at the time, but maybe when we look back. And I think it's the same, isn't it, for these two disciples on the road to Emmaus. It's not until they stop and break bread that they actually recognise God. And then when they look back at the conversation that they had with him as they walked along, they could see how it was Jesus present with them. So just take time today perhaps to just thank God for the times when his presence has been really obvious and you've really felt it. And maybe just to ask him to make himself known to you today in whatever it is that you have planned, whatever it is that you're doing, that you are aware of his presence alongside you and keeping you company in whatever it is that today brings. Amen.